Messi golpea.
Welcome back, football fans. Today, we're standing at the edge of history. Lionel Messi, the man who has defined an entire generation of football, is preparing for what could be his final chapter on the grandest stage of them all, the FIFA World Cup 2026. He's lifted every trophy, silenced every doubt, and carried the weight of expectation for 2 decades. But here's the question, can he do it one last time? This isn't just about football, it's about time, about watching a legend's clock tick louder with every passing match. At 39 years old, Messi isn't supposed to still be here, let alone chasing another World Cup. Yet, here we are, and the world can't look away. Stay with us as we dive deep into the story of Messi's last dance, from his impossible beginnings to his heartbreaking lows, his moments of pure magic, and now, the suspense of his final fight for immortality. Because here's the truth, every great story needs an ending, and this one? It might just be the most dramatic of all. But before the lights go down in 2026, let's rewind. Let's uncover the story of how a quiet boy from Rosario became the greatest footballer alive, and why his last World Cup might be the greatest show the sport has ever seen. Before the world knew his name, before the trophies and the headlines, there was just a small boy in Rosario, Argentina. A boy who seemed too fragile for the game everyone around him worshipped. Lionel Messi wasn't built like the others. While kids his age were sprinting past him, he struggled to keep up. His body just wouldn't grow. It wasn't laziness, it wasn't lack of talent, it was a medical condition that stunted his growth. Doctors called it growth hormone deficiency. His parents called it a nightmare. Imagine being a child who loved the ball more than anything, yet watching your dreams slip away simply because your body wouldn't cooperate. The local club saw his magic on the pitch, but when they looked closer, they saw the risk. Too small, too weak, too fragile. No scout wanted to place a bet on a boy whose future looked uncertain before it even began. For most kids, that would have been the end. But Messi's story didn't start with privilege, it started with defiance. His family couldn't afford the treatment that would help him grow. Every injection was a fortune they didn't have. But Messi didn't quit. Day after day, he kept playing. Cold mornings, dusty streets, a ball at his feet, and a dream bigger than the odds against him. And then came the first twist of fate. A trial with FC Barcelona. They saw something no one else dared to see. They weren't just looking at his size, they were watching his speed of thought, his impossible control, the way the ball seemed tied to his left foot, and in a single decision, his life changed. A napkin contract, scribbled on the spot, because Barcelona didn't want to let him slip away. It was a gamble, but it was also the beginning of a legend, because what nobody realized was this. Being told he was too small didn't break him, it built him. It gave him something to prove, and soon the world would understand exactly what that meant. At Barcelona, Messi was a stranger in a new land, a quiet kid from Rosario, barely a teenager, living thousands of miles away from home. He wasn't the loudest in the locker room. He didn't joke around like the others. He let his football do the talking. And when he spoke with the ball, everyone listened. The academy kids noticed it first. His balance, his vision, the way defenders slipped and fell as if chasing shadows. Coaches tried to stop him in training, but every drill ended the same. Messi, gliding past, the ball glued to his foot. Still, many wondered, could this frail teenager survive against grown men? Then came 2004. Barcelona gave the silent kid his chance. October 16th against Espanyol. Messi stepped onto the pitch for his debut, 16 years old. Shoulders narrow, hair long, eyes calm. The crowd didn't know it yet, but they were about to witness history. It wasn't an explosion. It wasn't an instant headline. Messi didn't need theatrics. What he showed that night was glimpses, flashes of something the game had never seen. Quick touches, fearless dribbles, a sense of control far beyond his years. In those brief minutes, Barcelona knew they had found their future. And then came his first goal. May 1st, 2005, against Albacete. Messi chipped the ball over the goalkeeper with the elegance of a master. A teenager, scoring like a veteran. The Camp Nou erupted, not just because of the goal, but because they realized what had just arrived. From that moment, whispers spread across Europe. Who is this kid? Where did he come from? And is he really this good, or is it a dream? The answer would come quickly. Messi wasn't just good, he was something else, something rare, something that would redefine football. But with greatness comes pressure, and the higher he climbed, the heavier the weight became. The question wasn't whether Messi could shine, it was whether he could carry the world on his shoulders. The world didn't have to wait long. Once Messi broke into Barcelona's first team, it was as if a switch flipped. No more whispers, only awe. By 2006, he wasn't just a quiet kid with talent, he was part of a revolution. A generation of players led by Ronaldinho, Xavi and Iniesta was reshaping football, and Messi was about to become its crown jewel. The thing about Messi's rise wasn't just the goals, it was the way he scored them. There was poetry in his movement, but also violence. Defenders bounced off him like they'd run into a wall of air. He didn't just run past players, he erased them. One touch, two touches, gone. The ball wasn't separate from him, it was an extension of his body. And then came that goal. April 2007, against Getafe. Messi picked up the ball in his own half, slalomed past defender after defender, and finished with the same calmness Maradona once showed against England. The world gasped. The comparisons began, but even then it was clear. This wasn't the next Maradona, this was Messi, something entirely his own. Year after year, the numbers piled up. Hat tricks, assists, Champions League nights that felt like theatre. But beyond the stats was the aura. Every time he stepped on the pitch, you felt something could happen, something that would break logic. By 2009, Pep Guardiola's Barcelona was the greatest show in the football, and at the center of it was Messi, running into space, slicing through defenses, scoring in finals like it was routine. That year, he won his first Ballon d'Or, the youngest ever at the time. The kid who was too small to dream had become the king of football, and the scary part, he wasn't done. Each season felt like a new chapter in a book that never stopped surprising you. But here's the thing about reaching the top. Once you're there, the fall becomes inevitable. And for Messi, the cracks were coming. Not from his feet, but from the world around him. Success has a strange cost. For over a decade, Messi carried Barcelona season after season. The goals, the trophies, the magic, it all came from him. But behind the glory, cracks were spreading. Bad management, poor signings, financial chaos, and as Barcelona collapsed from the inside, Messi stood powerless. It wasn't just defeat, it was humiliation. Rome 2009 was glorious, but Rome 2018, disaster. Liverpool 2019, a collapse that still echoes in the sport. Bayern Munich 2020, an 8-2 humiliation that shook the entire football world, and every headline carried the same weight. Messi broken, Messi finished, Messi blamed. But the real heartbreak came in 2021, not from an opponent, but from the club he gave everything to. Barcelona, his home, his family, the place where he became a legend, forced him out, not because of his performance, but because of financial ruin, contracts, debts, mismanagement. The unthinkable happened. Lionel Messi, in tears, saying goodbye to the only club he ever knew. His departure wasn't a transfer, it was a betrayal. Imagine giving your soul to a team, lifting them to greatness, only to be told there's no room for you anymore. That day at Camp Nou, when Messi cried during his farewell press conference, it wasn't just a goodbye, it was a funeral for an era. Paris became his new stage, but it never felt right. Messi in PSG colours looked like a painting with the wrong frame. Yes, there were goals, assists, another Ballon d'Or, but something was missing. The joy, the bond, the magic that Camp Nou gave him. For the first time in his career, people doubted him. Could he still lead? Was he still the best? Or was the king's crown slipping from his head? It felt like the story was closing, but Messi's career has never been about endings. It's been about rebirths. And just when the world thought he was fading, he delivered the one thing everyone said he would never touch. For years, Messi's greatness carried one shadow, one doubt that critics clung to. He had everything: Ballon d'Ors, Champions Leagues, records nobody else could touch, but no World Cup. The biggest stage, the one trophy that defines immortality in football, kept slipping from his grasp. 2014 was supposed to be the year. Messi dragged Argentina to the final in Brazil, playing with brilliance and heart. But then came Mario Götze's extra time dagger. Messi walked past the World Cup trophy after the match, eyes down, broken. That image haunted him for years. The greatest player alive, but empty-handed at the highest stage. And then came Qatar 2022. Messi at 35, written off as too old, too slow, too late. But what unfolded was a script so perfect, it felt like cinema. Messi didn't just play, he commanded. Every touch dripped with experience, every pass split defenses like a scalpel. Against Mexico, against the Netherlands, against Croatia, he didn't just lead Argentina, he carried them. And then, the final, Argentina versus France, the greatest final the World Cup has ever seen. A clash of eras, Messi versus Mbappe, 90 minutes of chaos, extra time of madness. Messi scored, created, fought with everything left in him. Mbappe struck back with a hat-trick. The world held its breath. Then penalties, silence across the stadium. Argentina's chance to end decades of waiting. Messi's chance to erase every doubt. When Gonzalo Montiel slotted home the winner, Messi fell to the ground, tears flowing, finally complete. The trophy that had eluded him his whole life now sat in his hands. He lifted it high, kissed it, and with that image, the debate was over. Messi wasn't just the greatest of his generation, he was the greatest of all time. But here's the twist. Most thought that was the perfect ending, a last chapter written in gold. What nobody expected was that Messi wasn't done. He had one more dance left in him, and his next stage, a place nobody saw coming. When the dust of Qatar settled, most thought Messi had closed the book. World Cup in his hands, legacy untouchable. What more could he possibly prove? But instead of fading quietly, Messi chose something bold, something different. In 2023, he crossed the Atlantic and landed in Major League Soccer, joining Inter Miami. At first, the world laughed. The US wasn't Europe. MLS wasn't the Champions League. Critics said he was taking a vacation, but they didn't understand. Messi doesn't show up anywhere just to stroll. The moment he stepped onto the pitch in Miami, the game changed. His debut was cinematic. Stoppage time, free kick, a packed stadium in pink. The whistle blew, Messi curled it in, and boom, the crowd exploded. Hollywood couldn't have scripted it better. In that moment, Messi didn't just score a goal, he put MLS on the global map. What followed was pure chaos. Stadiums sold out across America. Celebrities, athletes, even people who'd never watched football before showed up just to witness him. Inter Miami, a struggling club at the bottom, suddenly became the center of the football universe. And Messi, he delivered. Goals, assists, trophies. Yes, even in the US he brought silverware. But beyond the numbers, this chapter wasn't about dominance. It was about influence. Messi wasn't just lifting a club, he was lifting a league. He turned MLS into must-watch football. He inspired a new generation of kids in the US to pick up the ball and dream. Still, in the quiet moments, one truth lingered. Messi knew he wasn't in Miami just for retirement. He was keeping sharp, keeping ready, because there was one more horizon, one more tournament where legends are made and myths are written. The World Cup 2026, in America, in his new backyard. And the question began to spread like wildfire. Could Lionel Messi, at 39 years old, lead Argentina one more time? Here's the thing about time. It doesn't lose. Every athlete, no matter how great, eventually slows down. Legs get heavier, lungs burn quicker, recovery takes longer. And by 2026, Lionel Messi will be 39 years old. For most players, that's the end. For Messi, it's the beginning of his most daring challenge yet. The whispers are already out there. Can he still run past defenders? Can he still carry Argentina when the weight of expectation returns? Or will the World Cup prove too much for even the greatest of all time? But if Messi's career has taught us anything, it's this: don't bet against him. People doubted him when he was too small to play. They doubted him after Barcelona pushed him out. They doubted him before Qatar. Every single time, he responded with silence on the pitch and brilliance in his feet. 2026 won't be about speed or youth. It will be about wisdom, about control, about moments, because Messi doesn't need to dominate 90 minutes anymore. He just needs 1 second, one pass, one flash of genius to change everything. And no one in history has done that better. And let's not forget, the stage is almost poetic. The tournament will unfold across the US, Mexico, and Canada, the same continent where Messi now rules with Inter Miami. The stadiums will be packed with fans wearing his shirt, chanting his name, hoping for one last miracle. If Argentina lifts the trophy again with Messi leading at 39, it won't just be another win, it will be a defiance of nature, a rewriting of what we believe is possible in sport. But here's the suspense. The closer we get, the louder the clock ticks. Every injury, every match, every whisper of decline adds tension. Will Messi's body hold up? Will his hunger stay the same? Or will 2026 be the final curtain call that leaves us in tears? The truth is, we don't know, and that's what makes it irresistible. The greatest player ever, walking into his last dance, fighting not just opponents, but time itself. When the whistle finally blows on Messi's last match, whether it's in 2026 or sooner, football won't just lose a player, it will lose its greatest storyteller. Because Messi didn't just play the game, he changed what the game could be. Think about it. Every era has had its stars, but Messi was different. He wasn't just the best scorer, or the best dribbler, or the best passer. He was all of it, all at once. For 2 decades, defenders knew what was coming, and they still couldn't stop it. That's not skill. That's something deeper. But his legacy isn't only in numbers, though they're absurd. Over 800 career goals, countless assists, 7 Ballon d'Ors, World Cup champion, Copa America champion, Champions Leagues, league titles. The list never ends. The true legacy lies in how he made people feel. Kids in every corner of the world tying their shoelaces, whispering his name, dreaming of playing like him. Adults watching him on TV, shaking their heads, laughing because what they saw didn't seem human. He taught us that greatness doesn't need arrogance, that magic doesn't need noise. He didn't shout, he didn't taunt, he didn't demand the spotlight. He let the football speak, and it spoke louder than anyone in history. And there's something else. Messi redefined what it means to be an underdog. From the boy too small to grow, to the man too great to doubt, his story has become a blueprint for every dreamer who feels overlooked. He proved that you don't need to fit the mold, you just need to believe. When the future debates rage, who was the greatest of all time? The stats, the trophies, the highlights will be arguments enough. But what will keep Messi's name alive is the feeling, the goosebumps, the jaw drops, the joy. Because when Messi played, it wasn't just football, it was art. And maybe that's the most powerful legacy of all. Not the trophies he lifted, but the memories he gave us. Memories that will live long after the boots are hung up. So here we are, standing on the edge of one of the greatest sporting stories ever told. Lionel Messi, the boy who wasn't supposed to grow, the teenager who stunned Barcelona, the king who ruled Europe, the exile who rose again, the champion who lifted Argentina, now prepares for his last World Cup, his last dance. And what makes this ending so powerful is that we don't know how it finishes. Will he defy time, drag Argentina to one more glory, and rewrite history at 39? Or will he fall short, reminding us that even legends can't escape the clock? Either way, the truth is this: Messi has already won. His story is sealed in gold. Nothing that happens in 2026 can erase the magic he's given us. The goals, the finals, the tears, the impossible nights. He's already transcended the game. The World Cup may be the last act, but the echo will never fade. And that's the beauty of Messi's journey. It isn't just about trophies or records. It's about the feeling he gave us. The belief that when he stepped on the pitch, anything was possible. That football wasn't just a sport, it was art, poetry, and wonder rolled into 90 minutes. Now the stage is set for the finale. The lights are brighter, the stakes higher, the legend older but no less dangerous. And when Messi walks onto that pitch in 2026, the world will hold its breath one last time. Because this isn't just a game anymore. It's the closing chapter of a story we'll tell for generations. The last dance of Lionel Messi. So I'll leave you with this. Is this the greatest comeback or just the most unforgettable farewell? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want to follow Messi's journey all the way to the final whistle, make sure you subscribe because this story isn't over yet.